The Women on Board's Boardroom Diversity Index, which we probably should call a Boardroom Gender Index, measures the number of men, women and other genders on the boards of around 1,500 organisations across 12 or 15 sectors, depending on how you think about it. So we look beyond the ASX, we look to superannuation boards, credit unions, mutuals, federal and state government boards, we look at the sports sector, we look at universities, cooperative research centres, research and development corporations, a huge raft of boards across the health sector and many other within the education sectors. So we really try to look at the broad gamut of organisations, and we look and measure and assess the number of women on boards. The 2018 Boardroom Diversity Index shows incremental increases are happening pretty much across all sectors. So the ASX, superannuation, all those other boards, we're getting incremental increases. However, what would be really great is if we could reach a minimum of 40% women on all boards and committees across all sectors by 2020. So 40% men, 40% women, 20% of either and or gender by 2020 is what Women on Boards is looking for, and that's what we're going to throw down the challenge to those 1,500 organisations to be thinking about and looking to deliver over the next 2 years. The great thing about the BDI is that it is available and accessible data. We have always maintained that being transparent is in fact what helps to get things done and to get things changed. So we publish all of the data on our website, and anyone can look at an organisation or a sector and the number of women on those boards. So we've always named the organisations that don't have any women, or those organisations that only have a single woman on their board, because when you can actually put a name to the organisations, then you can really start to target them in terms of saying, well, look, let's look at the composition of your board and think about the skills matrix and how you can include more women in your director pool. It's really important to have gender balance on boards because women make up roughly 50% of our population. So if you're going to have organisations that function and serve our society, or organisations that are in business, that are in government, that are in the community and in the non-profit sector, it really makes sense to bring the full amount of talent on offer to be available to those boards. And talent is not vested within a single gender. We all know that. So it does make a lot more economic sense. There's been many studies done to prove this, but it just makes much more sense from the point of view of society to be able to look at a board and say, yep, there are men there are women there's age diversity there, there's different levels of experience there's different backgrounds there. People are actually coming to this board and are going to be able to exercise wisdom and judgment in a collegiate way to lead the strategy for this organisation and drive it forward. Gender balance has been really close to our hearts for many, many years. When we started Women on Boards, there were very few women on boards. We've put thousands on, and many other organisations have really stepped up and started to look at the composition of their boards and realise that in fact when they were doing their recruitment for boards, they were looking through a spotlight and only seeing the people that they knew, as opposed to turning on the floodlight and seeing all the people on the edge of that light who could lay equal claim to the roles. So things have improved massively, but change is still slow. Many organisations are still below 30%, many are only just above 30%. By 2020, Australia should be looking at having a minimum of 40% women, 40% men, 20% of either gender and or other genders on pretty much the boards of all organisations. And that is going to make sure that you get the best skills mixed, the best experience mixed, and we're really well placed to be able to move forward into the next decade.